Happy Sunday, folks, and please do enjoy this excellent conversation I've recorded on location in El Salvador a couple of weeks back with Tim Stern. Now, he's a 28-year-old German expat and entrepreneur since he was around 15, so a really happening guy. And he's building a project in Venezuela and Margarita Island. And even if you're not thinking of heading off out of the Western sphere, you will be really interested in this story. Also, we spend around half of the interview at least talking about affairs of the world and what's going on at the moment, and he has some great insights on that also. Last thing before we get into it, there's a link down below to Pure Gold Company in the city of London, the best company for physical metals, gold, silver, platinum, etc. And I just really feel, and I've done it myself, that getting into a portion of your resources in physical metal, safe, non-fiat, is really important in the world that me and Tim are talking about actually in this interview. So there's free consultation there with financial experts, no commitment whatsoever, and also free storage for 6 or 12 months, I think. So anyway, with that, let's get to Tim and let's get into this crazy world. So hey Tim, how's it going?
Hi, my friend. Thanks for the interview here on your channel, and it was awesome meeting you here in El Salvador. We had a nice little meetup, and I was talking to a lot of cool people. And hey to all the subscribers of this wonderful guy here, and let's have a nice talk.
Excellent, Tim. Well, I was delighted to get some time with you and actually learn so much about crypto and about what you're doing in Venezuela. And you know what? We want to talk about Crypto City big time because people are going to be fascinated. But maybe we'll go through first just the whole world of crypto, the key items that are going on, what it's all about, and give an intro to the whole space.
The whole space, when I was starting back in, when was it, like 2019, I was 18 basically. I was fascinated by, like a lot of you guys maybe, all this funny little charts, and it's going up and you're having all the millionaires overnight. But basically, in my opinion, behind crypto is a lot more than you would maybe think, because it's not just about the charts and making money and being a millionaire overnight. In my opinion, it's a piece of freedom we guys will need and we guys will have to protect, and especially like continue to develop, because we are going to have a lot of problems in the future. In my opinion, that's what all our meeting is about. You had a nice talk about all the insulin, and it was for me a nice awesome new piece of information. And I think the future of crypto will be basically control versus freedom. We are going to have a last kind of resistance to be able to transfer our money like we want it and not like everybody else wants it.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, originally this crypto thing, it was a speculative asset and you could make a ton of money, and I got a little of it just in case. But increasingly, exactly like you say, this is all about a sliver of freedom in a world that's compressing in us in a frightening pace. So the freedom at the moment with crypto generally, maybe a few examples of the kind of freedom and mobility it gives you, and then some of the potential headwinds where some of these mechanisms they may try and squeeze.
If you are in a third world country like Venezuela, you really get to use the kind of flexibility and freedom crypto basically provides to you. Because if you're in Germany, I'm a German guy. I've been born and raised there for 24 years before I took off to Venezuela 4 years ago. And in Venezuela, you really saw the rise and use of crypto, because imagine your paper bills are gonna get worthless basically, and you have to use some kind of another currency to be able to transfer and store your money. That's what in Venezuela had been the case like the last, 8-9 years, and this enabled the whole country to continue functioning basically, because their main source of wealth was like burning away through the inflation, and that helped the country to somehow stay afloat. The other thing, crypto, which a lot of people are still not getting, is the kind of drive it brings, all the blockchain technology which is being developed in the moment. It's gonna get way more complex than you're gonna basically think. I mean, if we are looking at today, we are having more than 50,000 different coins. It's not just Bitcoin and Ethereum. There's a lot more to this whole world, and you can do a lot of stuff which before only the banks were able to do. Now it gives you the freedom for yourself to basically have a custody over your money and being basically boss over your own wealth. Because what's a bank? Basically you give them money and they store it for you, and if the bank goes tits up, you're done. No? In crypto, in the other hand, if you're not using an exchange like Binance and KuCoin, if you're really storing it in your own hardware wallet, you basically have your own money in your hands. And in the case of like a really black swan event in the world, you can take it in your pocket, whatever kind of fortune you may have, maybe some 10,000s, maybe 100,000, maybe 10 million, and you can cross the border and you can take your money with you. Another thing is transaction speed. If you're in the US, you're familiar with a wire transfer, which takes 3 to 5 business days and is about $30 per transfer. Once you start using crypto, for example, some stable coins, USDT, and you send money to a friend of yours, it's there like instant, you know, a matter of seconds. And this is really a thing which I'm a big fan of, that you can A, store your own money, B, send it to whoever you want, and the third thing is the control. If you're a little bit in the, you know, tinfoil hat area with all the CBDCs and shit, it's not a tinfoil hat area anymore. Central bank digital currency is coming, and this is full control. You're gonna Twitter something which is against your governor, boom, you're blocked. You're gonna say something which they don't like, boom, you're blocked. I think there's a big war coming in between crypto, like the traditional crypto we're using now, and the central bank digital currencies which are being developed right now. And God save us all, and I hope that crypto is gonna develop and is gonna be a part of our daily lives where we can have this little piece of freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. The flexibility and the independence, which for many of my viewers, they would be fiercely independent, a little libertarian. So this should really resonate with those guys. But many of them may not actually be familiar really with crypto and the details. So this is great to summarize. So the headwinds for crypto then, at some point, the system, no tinfoil hat, just the reality of what we have, is going to try and impinge, I guess, on crypto, because they want the CBDC and they want to own all the power, of course. So what ways might they try and impinge, and are there always means to evade, not in a tax evasion way, not illegal, but just evade and move to new ways of using it to keep ahead of them?
I mean, basically what a central bank digital currency is and what it does is basically a replacement for the euro or for the dollar in a form of a digital way. They're always talking about blockchain, blockchain, blockchain. I think the headwinds of what we are gonna see in forms of control is basically getting rid of cash, you know. That's a thing now. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's not nothing. Just look at the new Europe regulations of cash payments. You know, first it was 10K, now it's 5K. They want to go down to 1K now. Everybody's gonna be fully transparent. Every transaction will be trackable, basically, and you don't have to be a criminal to value your privacy and say, hey, why does everybody have to know where I'm sending my money to and why I'm sending the money to, and especially where the banker comes in. You know, if you ever try to send 100,000 euros from Europe to the US or from the US to Dubai, you're gonna get a call which is gonna state, hey, where's this money from, where is it going to, and why is it going to somewhere? And like, hey, this is my money. If I want to send it to, I don't know, Ethiopia, because I love the new Nigerian prince who promised me 1,000% return, then I'm stupid. But it's still my right to send it there. You know, a bad example, but you know, I wanna tell you, especially with the great wave of immigrants or emigrants in this case, which we're gonna have from Europe. All the wealthy guys, you know, they are going abroad. You know, they are going out of Europe, and especially to countries like this where we are in the moment, El Salvador, Venezuela, Colombia, Cuba, to open maybe a new chapter of their life. And if your wealth can't be transferred because it's in a European bank, especially in the future, and if it's gonna be in CBDCs, there's gonna be no fucking way to send this money from Europe to wherever you're gonna be. And that's where crypto, in my opinion, is gonna chime in. Maybe the big brother, the first one, Bitcoin. Maybe it's gonna be another solution. A lot of people are using stable coins. This is the thing called USDT, which always values basically $1. But maybe it's gonna be even a new technology, a new coin. Who knows? The speed of development is really, really fast. We are seeing a lot of new emerging markets, digitalization and tokenization of real estate, basically. A little project we're doing in Venezuela as well. You take a hotel, you chime it up into 100 little parts, and then you can be owner of that little part of this hotel, which generates you some kind of return without any of the traditional, kinds of administration you had in the back then, basically.
Yeah, and one of the positive thoughts I had, though, my distrust of the authorities is beyond belief, obviously, and rightly so. But one of the positive things is they like to get 99% of the ants in the ant farm controlled.
Yep.
But you know what? They're not obsessed with getting the last 0.5 or 1% of the smartest guys who have maintained independence. So my suspicion is, even if they start bringing all kinds of restrictions in, there always will be new technology where the most well-informed, certainly like at this conference in El Salvador, will always be able to exist and have flexibility that you describe. So I think even if the bad guys really get medieval on our ass, as they say in Pulp Fiction, I think there'll always be technology that will still allow this freedom over time. Do you reckon that there'll always be these windows for the most well-informed?
Oh yeah, and if you have to go back to gold for cash transfers, there's always going to be a way, but it's way easier to prepare now instead of preparing the future.
Yeah.
It's going to be a really obvious thing they're going to do, in my opinion. They're going to invent the next crisis, and they're going to roll out CBDCs as the solution to that. Maybe it's going to be the climate crisis. Maybe it's going to be another funny pandemic. Maybe it's going to be whatever it is it's going to be. But they're going to use this as an excuse to get rid of cash because we cannot finance the terrorists, we cannot finance the whatever. And maybe even everybody's going to get, $500 for free. And now everybody's going to cry like sheep and say, oh yeah, great. The only thing you have to do is get rid of a bank account and give us all your cash, and you're gonna get an equivalent or a little bit more in those new shiny fancy digital currencies, and boom, you're in the system. Then you are basically effed,
Yeah, you basically become a serf.
Yeah.
There you are. Well, you know what? I want to get on to Crypto City. So on my way over here to the first day of the conference, Annette nicely told me, you got to talk to Tim about Crypto City. I said, Crypto City, is this like some virtual, is this like that bullshit with Microsoft, you get VR goggles? But no, this is real. This is a real city on an island in Venezuela. And maybe just bring us through briefly the origins of how you got into this and then what it's about.
Okay, so basically I'm running some kind of a crypto academy in Germany where I'm educating students. We're having about 5,000-6,000 of them now, and it started around the pandemic when I was getting messages on Instagram and my Telegram groups and whatever. I was like, hey Tim, you're in this margarita, right? This island. So how's life there? Yeah, life is good, what do you want to know? And I got questions like, do you have electricity? And I was like, no, I'm sitting on my electro bike, creating electricity to talk to you guys. What kind of question is that? And they were like, you know what, I'm kind of fed up of Germany. I'm everything's going in the wrong direction, all the immigrants and the taxes and all the LGBTQ stuff and whatever. I'm a business owner and I'm basically getting wrecked all day. So I was like, hey, no problem. Come visit the island, take a flight, it's a hard flight. You have to go through 2 stopovers and shit, but once you're here, it's gonna be worth it. So people started visiting me and really fell in love with the island really quickly because life is different there. It's like, you can kind of compare it to the 80s. I'm not an 80s guy, obviously, but I heard the stories and I'm pretty envious, by the way, of all your viewers who lived through the 80s and 90s. Man, I'd love to have to be existed in the 80s and 90s. But they came to the island, they loved it, and a lot of people started buying houses and apartments because it's really cheap, you can get beachfront property for 50K, like a nice apartment and everything. And this really started to take off, and we started to organize some kind of those, weekly reunions of expats. And on one of those weekly reunions, somebody pointed out that it's really somehow sad because we are geographically really far from each other. You know, one bought a house in the south and the other one bought a house in the north. And we were saying, hey, what about if you buy like an apartment tower so everybody can live somehow together and start to do business, because we are Germans, you know, Germans love to do business, Europeans love to do business. And if you're coming to a third world country where the mindset is not like that kind of competitive, it's really a nice playground. So in one of those reunions in 2 a.m, somebody came out with the idea, and what if we do like a colony, a community? And I was laughing. I was like, yeah, sure. And I'm gonna use, you know, the yellow helmet, and I'm driving the bulldozer myself, right? And I don't know. The night ended, and a few weeks later, I had to just call this guy up, because I was like, this idea, it's still stuck in my head. And I called him up, and I was like, hey man, we got to talk. And he was like, yeah, the colony, right? And I was like, how the fuck? Like, yeah, I just wanted to talk to you about that. And he was like, it's in my head. It's in my head, you know. We gotta go back from all this globalization bullshit to come back to the tribe kind of thing, you know. We were humans, we had our tribes, you know, we were protecting each other, we had all this family, we had all this like kind of being together going on, you know, and we lost all of that. And he was like, we should do that. So we sat together for a few months basically and started designing and shit. And then a friend of mine called me up who has a hotel in Margarita, and I was like, hey Tim, I want to renovate my hotel, and I'm having 15 acres basically of land. Do you know somebody who wants to buy it? And then I was like, I think the universe is kind of trying to tell me something. I'm not really a spiritual guy. I'm an atheist basically. I believe what I can touch, but man, this was like a good sign. So we negotiated and everything. In the end, we bought it. And I went off to Germany to some kind of talks, you know, some kind of seminars, and talked about the idea. And I really found a lot of people really fastly interested by that standard. And they came all to the island, and we showed them all the bits and pieces of the land we bought. And yeah, that's how it started basically. And the idea behind Crypto City is basically that we are having a European colony. It's not just European, it's basically whatever else outside of Venezuela. Business people who are fed up by all the globalist bullshit, who are fed up by, you know, I don't have to tell it to you because he's gonna get shadow banned again. So I'm not gonna tell you know all the topics we are trying to avoid. And yeah, we came together and formed this idea of a community which is vetted, which means that everybody who's coming in has to be accepted by the group first. So you're gonna basically write something about yourself. I'm a business entrepreneur in that field. I had that many employees. I sold it back then. I have a wife, 2 kids, and I'm just fed up by Germany. I talk with all the guys who want to come into the community, and then the community basically votes if this guy is suitable for the community. If they get accepted, they are in, and they are going to vote for the next guys as well. So our filter is basically 3 points. We are looking for people with the same values, like, you know, not like woke people, but not the bad woke, the real woke people. Coincidentally, nobody is jabbed. It's not in my list of rules, but somehow it coincidences, you know. We are having at least somehow close to $1 million in assets. Nobody has it liquid, but at least $1 million in assets somehow, so you're financially independent. And the third one is that you want to try and do something in Margarita, because it's not like a colony of pensionists who want to, you know, chill on the beach all day and drink their caipirinha. Of course, that's a thing we're going to do sometimes, some Saturdays obviously as well. But we are going to want to build like a business hub, a business community, which really wants to thrive and participate on the oncoming boom in Venezuela, because, you know, the things that's going on, BRICS, you know. Yeah, but the other things is just creating a community where everybody is business orientated, and we are gonna basically create a really, really nice life for ourselves, for our kids, for the wives, and start doing business together. That's where the part of crypto and Crypto City comes from. So I have a lot of theories in my comments on Instagram and YouTube. So, hey, you're going to do a big ass mining farm, or what's the point of Crypto City? I always tell them, no, we're not having our own money. We're not having our own farm, mining farm. The crypto part of Crypto City is the heart of the whole operation, and we are managing ourselves by a DAO. A DAO means a decentralized autonomous organization. and then the people still don't understand me, so I explain it like this. It's basically like a group chat with money. What do I mean by that? A group chat with money permits us doing really, really nice things. For example, we are having around 30 different business backgrounds for now. Now in Crypto City we have transport people, logistics people, we have food production people, we have hedge fund managers, we have people with supermarkets, we have people in real estate, and all those talents are gonna sit together on a lot of evenings, for example in our beach club. And then somebody throws in an idea. Hey, what about if we, I don't know, start producing water? You know, Nestle, they're making a shit ton of money, so hey, why not? Now we are gonna have on the table somebody who's already into food production or was in food production back in Germany. We have a logistics guy who knows how to throw containers all over the world. We have our banking or hedge fund manager who can get the capital, and maybe we have an awesome marketing guy. So boom, a new company is born. How are we gonna finance all this kind of operation, or how are we gonna buy a lot more businesses? Because you know, in Margarita there's hotels which sell for like $1 million with 25 beds, 35 beds. And you have to buy them fast because they're selling out really, really quickly, especially when the flights are going to come back and all the world is going to burn. You know, Venezuela and especially Latin America is going to be an awesome place to be. And there, our DAO comes into play. Basically, as I said, it's a group chat with money. Somebody can put up an idea, like for example, buy a hotel, 35 beds, close to the beach. We did all our research. It's an awesome project. And then we divide this buying price in between our 100 people. So basically it's going to be 2 rounds of votation. First votation is going to be, is somebody interested in buying a hotel? Then maybe 40 arms are going up. Or not arms, it's a dashboard, you know. You can click yes or no. Second round of votation is where all the heart of the whole operation is. When we have 40 people interested for an $800,000 hotel, it means that everybody has to put down 20K, right? Instead of just negotiating and blah blah and talk, and in the moment of actually signing the deal, somebody's gonna go out, gets cold feet, I don't know, the wife has something against it. No, in the second round of votation, if you want to participate, you have to directly store 20,000 USDT in a liquidity pool. A liquidity pool is like a little banking account. It's not like a banking account, it's on the blockchain. But in the moment you click yes, you basically park 20,000 USDT in this $800,000 hotel example by 40 people. You park it, and then we have 10 days for the whole votation. If in those 10 days we are gonna get the money together, cool. Deal gets executed, we're gonna buy the hotel. If the money is not coming together because half of all the people just talk bullshit and they're not gonna go inside, maybe we just get, I don't know, 400K together. After 10 days, the smart contract decides, 10 days, 12 o'clock, we didn't get the money together, everybody gets repaid, and that's it. You didn't have one lawyer, you didn't have one notariato, or how the Spanish is calling it. You don't have any money spent. You can act really quickly, you know, you can, hey, blah, 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 who's interested, okay, who can freeze 20K, and are we gonna do it, yes or no? And that's how we basically are gonna operate our whole city, because every decision, this is like the business part of the DAO, but also we are having a lot of decisions to be made, right? If you're gonna get 100 people together in a city, there's gonna be some set of rules, right? You're not gonna have a governor in that case, but we're gonna have rules, because in Venezuela, basically there are no rules, but we are Germans, you know, Germans like their rules, you know, like how to operate. You have like from here to here and that's it. So basically in the moment we are voting about, I don't know, 50 points in the moment for Crypto City. This is cases like, is our beach club gonna be public, yes or no? If it's gonna be public, how public is it gonna be? Is it gonna be like a country club model where you can have a membership fee, or is it gonna some other model? The other things were like, how do we divide the plots of land, you know? Is it gonna be a wall, or is it gonna be like some kind of planting stuff, you know, everything green? Is it gonna be, I don't know, some kind of fence, you know? Everything which is basically an important decision for the people is gonna be voted. Example, we voted, or the rules already laid down in the moment, which we already voted, is the maximum height of the houses. We voted for 2 stories and a little, you know, like a terrace thing. That's it. Nothing bigger. If you want to build smaller, that's cool, but nothing bigger. Also, what we voted is the security. No, we're gonna have cameras outside of Crypto City, inside no. We are going to have 3 security people on a rotation shift. That's the thing we voted. We voted about the cleaning ladies, how it's going to be the system, if somebody is not there, how they're going to come in, a central piece, a central place where you can leave the keys, and then the cleaning lady comes in. Like all the details, it's voted. It's not like, hey, Tim founded it and Tim is going to dictate all the shit. That's a thing I don't want. But the whole project only works, or this idea of being really democratic, not like the bullshit democracy we have in Europe, but the real democracy only works if you have vetted people.
Absolutely, but what you described there, Tim, is kind of an extreme or a perfect version of direct democracy.
Yeah.
This idea that in a real democracy, you should be able to vote on myriad issues, not just put in your puppetitions and then they decide in the parliament what to do, which often isn't in your interest. So that's the ultimate direct democracy. It's superb. And the safety of, obviously Venezuela, there's a lot of propaganda against it because they're not pro-American. So masses of propaganda say it's complete basket case and it's terrible and blah, blah, blah. Now, I believe the mainland, maybe is a little bit challenging for Europeans, a little bit more risk. But the island is very separate, not just geographically with a large stretch of water, but it's got its own thing. So even if things are rocky in Venezuela in this fork turning for a period, the island is kind of autonomous, kind of separate. Is that correct?
Yeah, Margarita has been a hotspot for Europeans for all over the world in the 80s, 90s, up until the early 2000s. There was a period in time when we had, I think, 50-something jumbo jets per week coming to Margarita. It was really famous. There's even like a film in the cinema about El Yaque. That's where I live in the moment. I'm going to move to Crypto City, obviously, but because they had like 4 consecutive windsurf world champions or something out of this little funny village, which is really sleepy. And historically, there's a lot of Europeans still on the island running the big businesses. So that's why Margarita has always been a little bit of separate from the mainland, because they are not depending that much like from the state, because you have the tourism, you have all these beautiful beaches, all the hotels, which kind of had to survive a little bit. You see the stress and toll on all the big hotels. You see they have to be painted again, and the air conditions running out. But somehow they managed to get over the big crisis we had in 16, 17. When it's really gone down hard, when you had the people basically fighting against the government. But still in Margarita that never really happened. Margarita has always been very chill. And I think it's kind of because there are still a lot of Europeans who somehow always manage to get some money from somewhere, if there's something missing. And this is turning in the moment. We are getting flights back, direct flights. We have the first ones from Russia now, funny, Moscow directly. Putin was in Margarita as well. They are really getting along good together, interesting, just a fact. You have a lot of basically tourism, which is coming back now, slowly but steady. And also, you just mentioned that maybe the mainland is a little bit more challenging. That's true, though a thing you have to know, which I didn't know until recently, 43.6% of Venezuelans are of European origin. Because of the Spanish colonization, there was a point in time where the Germans had 1/3 of Venezuela under control, like 1400 something. The Welser family, they had like 1/3. All the big capitals of Venezuela are founded by the Spanish or by the Germans, actually. I think Maracaibo was founded by the German Welser family, like, 700 years ago. And you see that, it's all multicultural. I was really surprised when I came to Venezuela. There's absolutely no racism. It's not existing. And we are not dancing around the eggshells like we do in Germany. A Venezuelan just calls you out for what you are. For example, I'm the white fat guy sometimes, and they mean it lovingly. They say, hey, panagordo, like fat friend, how you are. If there's a black guy over the street, hola negro, hey, black guy, what's happening, We have a Chinese governor, and you know what his voting slogan was? El Chino, the Chinese guy. Imagine that in Germany. You would get fucking put away in jail for that. But because there's no racism existing, nobody takes that bad, If you're a skinny guy, you are the flaco. Hey, skinny. If you're the fat guy, you're the gordo. If you're the black guy, you're the negro. If you're the white guy, you're the blanco. If you're the Chinese guy, you're el chino. Yeah, it's just how it is, and I love this lifestyle.
Daddy, you've just described true diversity and true integration and true society of the traditional sense. Everything, ironically, in the West, the globalists are seeking to destroy. And I often just remind people, all of these globalists at the top driving diversity, they're driving critical race theory, they're driving shame, they're driving racism, they're trying to ignite racism, they're flooding with migrants from very different cultures who won't integrate to try and destroy national uniqueness, which is destroying diversity.
True.
I could go on all day, but over here, there's natural, real human interaction, and there's no globalists trying to basically fuck it up.
Oh, they're trying actually. Maduro is sticking the finger since 25 years to the American guys. Why do you think they're sanctioned? Why do you think they are so poor? Because they are not happy with the American imperialism. It's just like it is. There's a nice interview from Maduro's predecessor, Chavez, when he had like a speech at the UN, and I was laughing my ass off about it. You had George W. Bush speaking on the big stage. Next up was Chavez the day later, but he was the first speaker. He came up to the microphone. I shit you not, you have to look it up in Google. He came up to the microphone. It smells like sulfur. The devil has spoken. And I was like, no fucking way. He said it in Spanish, obviously, like, aquí se huele como sulfur, habló el diablo, you know. And I was like, no fucking way. He just said that, you know. Has kind of been going on, you know, since the last 20-25 years, and that led to the ban of Monsanto, that led to the ban of gene technology. You have no chemtrails, nothing going on. You have the biggest, best, in my opinion, really good quality meat, because you don't have all the fucking antibiotics and shit they're injecting. You have these little farms in Margarita, you know, where they have their, I don't know, so 50, 60 cows, and you know, they're gonna kill it when they need to and sell it to the local market. You go there, boom, you have your grass-fed local cow for $5 a kilo. Like, what the fuck, you know, it's awesome. Yeah, basically that's how they operated in the last 20-25 years, and I'm pretty happy that all this Western bullshit still is not really present. I mean, look at the LGBTQY plus XYZ movement. You think a Venezuelan guy is asking himself if he should cut his balls if he doesn't know if he has food in his fucking refrigerator for the next day. You know, like the Pueblo, yeah, they're poor. But all this kind of boring illnesses, you know, you have nothing to do, and then you think about being a girl or a guy not existing, and nobody gives a shit a fuck there if you're gay or lesbian or whatever you are. Nobody gives a fuck. But also the gays, they are not like trying to do a Christopher Street Day and shit, you know, it's just not existing. Everybody's happy with the way they are, as they should be. All this kind of forçation we are seeing in Europe of all these Netflix shows where suddenly, you know, every actor is now black and gay and also a trans woman and also identifies as a helicopter. This is gonna enforcing that we are losing all the privileges we had fought for the gay guys. Because in the 70s, 60s, it was really bad to be gay because you really fucked up, basically. Then in the 80s, 90s, it kind of was normal. Nobody gave a fuck. Wonderful. Do whatever you want. But now in the 2020s, where it's so enforced, all this hate against the trans guys, it's gonna even somehow flow over to the normal gay and lesbian guys. And that's sad in my opinion, because I don't give a fuck what you do or where you are or who's your partner. Have fun, man, knock yourself out. But stop all this screaming around, you know, we need whatever you need. What's that? In Venezuela, it's not existing. Everybody's happy. No, not everybody's happy, of course, they're gonna fight, you know. It's hard sometimes for the people there actually getting bread on the table. Not in Margarita though, but in the mainland, you know, at the far regions where it's really hard for people to really get their money basically at home, you know, to feed your family. But apart from that, people are pretty happy, even if they don't own so much. And that's something I've learned from the Venezuelans, which really enriched my personal growth. Man, they wake up in their little houses somewhere, you know. Nobody has cancer. You have something in the fridge. That's why it's a good day. The Germans with the 6 Mercedes, you know. Now the neighbor bought a new BMW W XY7, and that's why I'm pissed about the next 3 weeks, because he now drives a bigger car than me. All this ultra materialism, yeah. And materialism, it's not good for your health. And the Venezuelans really, they have the family core. It's really important. There's not even institutions where you can give your grandma and your grandfather to taking care of. Everybody lives in the house. Grandma, grandpa, even great-great-pa sometimes, you know. Mom, dad, cousin, son, daughter, blah, they all live together and they take care of each other. And that's something really, really inspiring to me, because in Germany this is kind of getting lost, you know, this respect for the people who created you. Of course, you have a career, you cannot look after him, blah, but then you just send him off to a nursery home. I mean, what's that? That's not cool. Venezuela, it's not existing. Not even because of the monetary aspect, because of the respect aspect, you know. They would never get on the idea to send their mom or their dad to a nursery home. Now, a lot of Venezuelans, they do the taking care, they do it themselves, you know. It's not even like somebody you pay for taking care. No, you do it yourself out of respect. And that's an intact family core. That's what they're trying to split up in Europe. If I would try to control a society or a population, I would try to fuck up their values. I would try to fuck up the young man, 20, 30 years old. You know, the ones usually starting the revolution. If I get them to the point that they are obese and sick and not even know if they're a man anymore, perfect, you know, then I really have control over everything.
Yeah, and it's funny, Tim, that, you know, people think some of this, what's going on, it's a conspiracy theory, because no way would all of our leaders have not of our interests in heart. But the other thing is, it's all published, all the plans in the UN and WEF, it's all published, it's strategic, and it's self-evident what they're doing to anyone with an ounce of critical thinking. They are destroying our societal structure because they want a big bland blob with no true nationalism or sovereignty or diversity, so they can rule over an ant farm. And it's self-evident. That's what really drives me crazy. But you've drawn such a perfect, like, complete contrast with a society that has retained its humanity. And that's a huge selling point for Venezuela, especially when the island is relatively completely safe, whatever about the mainland, and the mainland is heading towards kind of European levels of safety over time. And let's just see what Europe looks like over the next 10 years. It's going to get nuts, right, in the fourth turning. So people need to be thinking really long and hard about plan Bs, about getting out of their kind of indoctrinated lives where they couldn't think of leaving where they are, and just start thinking a little more broadly. And you don't need to, you mostly have guys who are big business guys who have probably a lot of wealth, but the access into this is not for very high net worth. And if someone's selling a home in Europe where they're more expensive, it's very feasible. So what are the kind of prices for plots? And we talked last night.
Yeah, before I'm talking about prices, I want to give you a funny or a funny story about the thing of Europe's safety in the next 10 years. About 2 years ago, I was driving from my office home, and I got a client call, and Wi-Fi was not so good, or reception, so I was stopping at a little cafe. It was a cafe in basically a slum, you know. It was like just a cafe. It was nothing nice, you know. A little bit old, you know, everything was not painted well, whatever. I just stopped there because I needed to use the Wi-Fi and have my call. I did my Zoom call, and I got another call, really, like literally in the Zoom call. I was taking that, going out, and talking, kind of forgot about my laptop. So I'm driving home, and I got a call from a random Venezuelan number, and he's all like stalled up on his phone. Tim, olvidaste tu laptop, olvidaste el laptop. You forgot your laptop. Are you crazy? Kind of forgot your laptop in a barrio like this. I said, oh shit, man, thank you. How the fuck do you even have my number? So this guy, after seeing that I forgot my $2,000 Ultra HP, whatever, like 10 times his yearly salary laptop, he looked at the sticker at the back where it said my domain, my crypto coaching domain. He looked that up and got my WhatsApp number from that. And I was like, oh, crazy, cool. Hey, thank you. I gave him $100 because I was so grateful. He was grateful as well. About 6 months later, I'm going to Germany, Frankfurt, for a seminar, and I leave my laptop in my car in the garage, like on the levels, right? Like how's it called?
A multi-level car park.
Yeah, the car park, you know. I come back from the fucking seminar, my window is broken, my laptop is stolen, my fucking bag is stolen, my wallet, my whatever, all gone. And you're gonna tell me that Venezuela is so fucking unsafe? I mean, of course, yeah, it's like a comparison apples to peaches in this kind, but I had this experience, this personal experience, where a Venezuelan guy called me up after looking through the stickers and my number and told me, you're stupid, you forgot your laptop. And then the other hand, I have my car completely safely parked and I've got a smashed window and everything is stolen. Like, what the fuck is this? And yeah, that's just a little funny story I wanted to tell. About pricing, in Crypto City we have in total 13.3 hectares in the moment. We are going to expand soon. We had 3 sales phases. The first phase was $100 per square meter, which is not that much if you compare it in Europe. I mean, if you buy land in Munich and shit, you're paying 1,000 or even 1,500. And this was the first phase until we sold the first 33 plots. This is already done. We are in the phase 2 now, where it's around 150 euros per square meter. So if you have like a little plot with, I don't know, 500 square meters, it's about 75K. It's not that much. And building the houses in Margarita really depends on the materials you're gonna use. Most of us are not gonna build cheap because, you know, most of them bring wife and kids and really plan to live there. So they're gonna do big houses about 250 square meters. And you're doing this around 1,000, 1,200 per square meters, depending on the materials you use. But in the end, I mean, a 200 square meter house is around 200K, and then your plot of 500 square meters is 75, so 275, and you have your house at the beach. I mean, man, in Germany, in Düsseldorf, you buy a little apartment in a tower with 80 square meters, you know, and you don't even have nice view, especially not the nice neighbors.
Yeah, that's very exciting. And again, someone who is making the decision and moving, especially someone who, if they're continuing to work, they just really need internet connection, they don't need an office. If you sell up, like in suburban Ireland where I am, probably 800K for a semi-detached house in the suburbs. So there you are. So you got nearly $500,000 left over, or more than $500,000 left over after you move. But keeping and renting, a lot of people would probably go towards maybe keeping and renting and keeping a foothold back in the home place, you know, and people, I guess, so what percentage are really going there and moving, and what percentage are kind of wanting to have it there as an option if things get crazy and, you know, maybe pop over? And
this was one of our little voting points. I spoke earlier about the DAO, and we voted for 70-30, which means 70% full-time people living there and about 30 moving here and there. That's around the ratio we are gonna have. Most of the people who are not living full-time yet, though, they are really in, or their plans basically, which they have is, hey Tim, yes, let's build a city, let's build a house. Until we are done with that, it's gonna be 2027. And I'm pretty sure if we are continuing the way we are doing in the moment, I'm gonna be there full time as well.
Yeah, exactly. So the voting is, you're aiming for 70-30, and then the interviewing process kind of gets your approximate 70-30 on a rolling basis. Perfect. Well, you know what? That is, I'm gonna intersplice, if you send me some pictures, and you got a 24-hour live stream from where all the construction's happening, because I believe some articles have been written by weirdos, or
I got my first hit piece.
Yeah, and you showed me and scrolled a massive article on a blog post. I think it was it French or Spanish or Danish?
Yeah,
or
something like that.
Something like that. And they're basically saying this whole thing is fake and blah, blah, blah. And you can't help but feel that that's funded somewhere along the way by the bad guys, or some bad guys you would expect. But the other thing, though, in closing, I'll include everything in the links. You're 28 years old. Seriously. So
Youngster.
Briefly, how do you end up at 28 years old running a multi-million-dollar development of this complexity and this nature? I mean, it's obviously highly entrepreneurial, highly advanced, highly awake. You're massively politically knowledgeable. Clearly, you've met with dignitaries from many countries in this process. I mean, you speak fluent Spanish. I could go on, just roughly from 18 or so to now. What was that trajectory? How did this happen so fast?
I mean, I think big part of why I'm where I am is because I always try to surround me with people who are way farther ahead than I am. I realized when I was going to German school, we have three kind of schools. You have the main basic school, the intermediate, and the ones who have a little bit in their brain. I was at the highest, and I realized it's all fucking bullshit. All the bullshit they're teaching us, it's all bullshit. It was nothing about money, it was nothing about growing in your life, it was nothing about nothing basically. My mom died pretty young when I was 15, so I was not on the streets, but I had like this 8 square meter apartment. The German state didn't help me with nothing because my dad immigrated in 98 to Venezuela, so he was already there. It was kind of a problem because in Germany you get like this child support thing going on, but either they give it to you directly if both parents are dead, or they give it to one of your parents. But if the parent is not in the EU, so basically I fell out of the system, So I had to work illegally as a barkeeper and washing dishes, and I drove pizza with my scooter. When I had my first car, I drove taxi. It was a Mercedes. I didn't even have a taxi's license, but I was one night in a club and some drunk guy thought I was a taxi, so I capitalized on that. It was great until the German government found out and I had to pay all I gained in fees. But I had like this entrepreneurial thing really early going on, and when I was finished studying informatics, I didn't study, I had like this hybrid thing, where you go to school and then work. First day I was getting my diplomat, I cancelled. I terminated my job there and I made my first business first day when I had my diploma. And somehow always fought through and had a little good base of clients, repairing servers and shit and doing websites and a lot of different things. But when COVID came, I was like, you know what, nah, I'm out. Because I was visiting my dad like always in the summers. And my dad is a pretty big entrepreneur. He has like a fiber optics telecommunications company with around 40,000 clients, 300 employees. And I think I learned a little bit of that. He offered me a position at some point and I was like, you know what? Sleeping, that's a Spanish saying, sleeping in a done bed is easy, Sleeping in, I didn't want to like enter in a family business because I wanted to make my own name. I didn't want to be the son of, I wanted to be Tim. And when Crypto City came around, man, it just exploded because I think we just touched the pulse of time. It's not just luck. I'm working like 16 hours a day. That's why I gained 20 kilos. I was way better in shape before Crypto City.
But you're going carnivore, right?
Yeah,
After our discussion.
man, thanks to him. Viewers, thanks to him, I'm gonna go carnivore and maybe we're gonna see each other again in Argentina, I don't know. And maybe I'm gonna do a little follow-up with him and hopefully I've lost 20 kilo. No, it's always like this, being entrepreneurial, hanging around with people which are way farther than you, or way far more ahead, If you're always in your same echo chamber, what the fuck are you gonna learn, 25-year-olds running around with 25-year-olds, what are you gonna learn? You're gonna learn tits and beer. That's all they're gonna have in their head. Yeah, sorry, but that's the truth. And yeah, let's see. I think a big part of it is also Venezuela, because they just let you keep doing. In Germany, if I would do this in Germany, I wouldn't even be able to construct until in like 10 years just for the paperwork. Yeah. We got the paperwork done in like half a year? And since then we're building. We're in building week 28 now, 25 big machines and all the trucks, and you can really see already the streets forming, the levels, the terraces from up there. And yeah, I think it's a combination of a freedom city, entrepreneurial mindset, and just a desire to not die one day and not having left no mark on the earth. You know, all those supermarkets, sorry for somebody who's working in a supermarket, but if you're working in a supermarket 50 years, stocking shelves, what kind of a difference did you do? Did you fight? Did you make the world a better place? Did you call out the fucking people doing all this bullshit? Did you do it? Or did you just hurt your friends and family and say, opening your own business? Really risky.
Scary.
Scary. Yeah, fuck scary. You want to have something in your life or not? Yeah, okay, maybe it fails. And what? Then you stand up again and do it again. So what?
And you have to stay just like your good self, Tim, stoical.
Yeah.
You accept fate, things fail, you know, you learn,
Exactly.
you move on, you go again, and you will prevail.
That's man's nature.
Yes.
But we lost that.
We lost it.
We lost
That
it.
is the tragedy. Well, you know what? With people like you and all the other people awakening since the madness of the cerveza sickness and all the other nonsense of the LGB 6WH whatever, and all this madness of mass migration trying to undermine our society, people are beginning to awaken, arise, and go back to understanding what it means to be fucking human. Right?
I hope. Right.
Excellent, Tim. Thanks so much. And we'll talk again in a couple of months and we'll see how you're doing. It doesn't have to be all the 20 gone. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. We'll see. Good man.
Good lad, thanks. And push the subscribe button. You know,
Oh,
the bell
yeah.
and shit, you know, do the comments. Want to support the channel here.
And
Do the Patreon, everything.
the whole lot. And I'm going to put crypto links into my system now, which I should have done 3 years
yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
And also, you got to hit the notification bell and you got to hit all notifications because shadow banning means they don't send most of them.
And I'm trying to work something out with him. Maybe we're gonna see an own platform in the future because we can't rely on big platforms like YouTube, Twitter, Facebook in the future. Because man, somebody's gonna have something against your content and they're gonna censor it. So possibly in the future, join the group, something like that.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Tim. Great stuff.
Bye.
now.
That'll do it, folks. Hope you found that informative and interesting. And again, just a quick mention, link is down below to Pure Gold. They're the best in the world, I believe. They have vaults all across the West and the East as well, I think. And free consultation and free storage for a period. If you go and talk to those guys, I'd highly recommend thinking about this, given the world that we're in, where we're probably going, and pretty much what myself and Tim were talking about there. So until next time.